You're listening to the Not Safe for Work History Podcast.
Does that turn you on?
History for the depraved.
Hey, this is Joe, and that's Jason. This is the Not Safe for Work History Podcast. Episode 3, Fuck.
Fuck. All about fuck. And this fucking episode has been pissing me off all goddamn week because the research is dumb. I'm just going to say that. It's all dumb. It's nobody wanting to make any definitive statements, and then people say, well, my grandfather didn't swear, therefore nobody swore in the early 20th century.
But that's history,
Idiots.
right?
It's fucking stupid people is what it is. I can't express how much I hated researching this episode.
The history of history is just people beating around the bush.
Pretty much. I mean, and we got to include the linguists in here too.
Oh.
Because they don't want to make any definitive statements either. We'll get to that. But
it sounds like you've made a definitive statement.
We found some good stuff though. It was just frustrating.
You found some good stuff.
Yeah, well,
just to make that clear,
include both of us in this. But no, it's it is what it is. There was a lot of beating around the bush. There's some really great historians and linguists out there that just love digging into vulgar language. So to them, I say thank you. And if I think of it, I'll look up their names when we're done and include them in the show notes. But onward and upward. Yeah, we're doing the history of the word fuck and where it comes from and how it got to where it is today.
And all the lies.
All the lies. Well, I left out a lot of the lies just for the sake of my own sanity.
Yeah. We should do an episode about all the lies of the word fuck.
Yeah. Oh, we could easily do an episode on that alone, but we're going to skip that today, except for a few notable exceptions.
What everyone seems to think fuck means. Did that sound right? The false acronyms.
Oh yeah. Well, those make the rounds on the internet. Are the chain letters still a thing? Like where people send random? I think only old people do that now. Right?
Well, I think they're memes now. They're like the Reddit upvote memes, like upvote this.
I see. But there's always people on Reddit quick to point out others' mistakes. I think we've all experienced that at one point in time or another.
I'm sure we will.
Most likely, it's coming. But before we dive into the history of the word fuck, we should look at the dictionary definitions of the word, the modern dictionary definitions. And I've got two examples here, one from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, the other one from the good old Oxford English Dictionary. And the Merriam-Webster definition for the word fuck is 1, usually obscene, to engage in coitus with, and sometimes used interjectionally with an object as a personal or reflexive pronoun to express anger, contempt, or disgust. And 2, usually vulgar, to deal with unfairly or harshly, as in cheat or screw. And then the Oxford English Dictionary definitions are 1, have sexual intercourse with someone, and 2, damage or ruin something. Which I like the Oxford English Dictionary.
I was just going to say.
It's more to the point.
The Merriam-Webster Dictionary is just...
That's for snooty assholes.
Yeah, I guess so. Because, I mean, once you read the Merriam Dictionary, the Merriam-Webster definition, and I totally forgot what we're even talking about.
When you were younger, did you look up dirty words in the dictionary?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think everybody's done that.
I still do.
Just something to do on a Friday evening sort of thing.
Yeah, that's how I spend my downtime.
I remember always being disappointed by the definitions personally.
Well, you had to What did you expect?
I think I was hoping for pictures or something. Because, when I was a kid looking at this stuff, there was no internet around at that point in time.
Desperate.
It was in its infancy, yeah. So
desperate for a JCPenney catalog.
Well, it was Sears up here in Canada. Yeah, we get that Christmas edition of the Sears catalog that would sit around for 6 months after Christmas.
And then suddenly disappear.
And then suddenly disappear, yeah. But despite the wideness of its use in many sections of society, the word fuck remains one of the most taboo words in the English language. Although my favorite is still cunt. Because that one still has the ability to shock people when you say it. Like, fuck, you can almost get away with saying, like, in a church or something like that. People might notice, but they're not going to say anything.
Right.
You start throwing cunt around, and people are going to take notice.
I'm going to have to agree with you.
Actually, you know what? My sister listened to the first episode, and I asked her what she thought of it, and she said that she liked it, but she would cringe every time one of us would say the word cunt. And she had no explanation for me, but the word cunt just makes her.
Well, yeah, I think
right
that's a word that women tend to take very seriously. That didn't make sense.
They should smarten the hell up.
Yeah,
get over it.
I think this is something that they find very offensive.
Yeah, but my wife and I made a pact quite a while ago that we were going to take the word back.
Oh
try
my
to make
God.
it an acceptable word. But like bring it up to the same level as fuck,
Oh, okay.
Down. I don't know which direction it would be going, but but as far as the word fuck, which is the word we're talking about today, is concerned, until relatively recently, it rarely appeared in print. And even today, there's places you just won't find that word. Cable TV. Well, what is it? Cable TV? I don't even know what it is anymore.
Yeah, but even
network television. Network television. That's
yeah. You won't find it there. I was going to say cable TV. You can find it.
Yeah, but it's just one of those words and that makes it really difficult to track the history of the word too. Figure out just how widely it was used throughout history. But what have we got first? Well, we want to clear the air first and get rid of a falsity that's been floating around on the
fake
internet.
News.
Yes, fake news. Alternative facts about the word fuck. We really got to start. We're dating these episodes when we do stuff like that.
Oh, you're right. We got to make this as
timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
timeless.
use that word.
Donald Trump is not currently destroying America. Oh, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
This is my turn. This is my time to speak. I said some things last episode about the Queen. And I want to take those things back because we got a pretty stupid president right now. I mean, even if you voted for him, you still have to admit he's pretty stupid. And I need to clear the air with the Queen, if she's listening, because we might have to go back.
Become loyalists again.
We may need to be reoccupied. So, yes, I said the Queen eats children. It's probably true, but I am willing to let it go for the sake.
Willing to look past that.
Yeah, for the sake of fucking normalcy.
Well, you might be like, I don't know, granted some land in the Maritimes or something like that, a couple acres, and that's what they did for the loyalists back then, anyway.
I will. Oh my God. It's bad when you wish George W. Bush was still president.
I don't think he was that bad personally. But
well,
but I'm Canadian,
hindsight's
so
2020.
That's true.
I'm thinking George Bush. Yeah, he wasn't too bad at all.
And he probably liked to throw the F word around here and there too.
Yes, off topic. Let's get back
to
to
having a beer with his buddies. But we gotta get through these alternative facts on the word fuck. And I'm sure you've heard them before, Joe.
I did.
Yes. The big one is that in the olden days in England, the king had to give you permission to fuck or to swive, as that was the word for screwing in the Middle Ages in England. Swiving.
That sounds so much dirtier.
It does. It does. It's kind of like swine.
Yeah, I was thinking
And,
it reminds me
yeah.
of swine.
But so the word fuck was born out of the acronym because people would have to hang plaques on their doors, that they had a license to screw from the king. And the acronym was fornication under consent of the king, or F-U-C-K.
But that was all bullshit.
That is a lie. Because I like to think of like a king, the king of England. All he'd be doing all day is filling out, like, signing fuck licenses.
Yeah, right.
And handing them out. And people in Northumberland would have to wait like 6 months to get their license because it's,
If you're going to do it, you just do what China does. And if you have to, you just kill one.
Exactly.
You just let it go.
Exactly.
Just be careful. Actually, I think they don't do that anymore.
No, they just recently they lifted that whole ban.
Yeah, good for them.
The second acronym was a legal term, supposedly, and for sex out of wedlock, and that was for unlawful carnal knowledge. And I'm assuming that could be used for like rape and stuff like that too, because I got to figure that's unlawful carnal knowledge.
Yeah.
But so yeah, for unlawful carnal knowledge, which is also F-U-C-K, and that is complete and utter bullshit too. So there you go.
Yeah.
But where does the word actually come from? This is the first thing that agitated me during the research, because no linguists want to make a definitive statement, which I guess I can kind of understand. I can appreciate that. You don't want to make any definitive statements on stuff that is all just circumstantial evidence, I guess you could say.
Right. I mean, they have integrity.
Fucking integrity.
Who needs it?
There's the belief is that it came from Germanic languages, which are, I have a list here. Ficken, which is the German word, which means to copulate. Focken, which is Middle Dutch for to thrust or copulate with. Fuka, which is Norwegian for to copulate. Faka, which is Swedish for to strike, push, or copulate. And fok, which is a Swedish word for penis. And
now, are you sure that those words mean what you said they mean?
I'm pretty damn sure. I hope. Anyway, now there could be it could be different from like modern, because this would have been like the Dark Ages, Middle Ages kind of an era.
Oh, okay.
That these were, so they might be kind of different nowadays. I didn't look that up. I probably should have.
Ooh.
I know. Scary.
Send your hate mail to notsafeforworkhistorypodcast@gmail.com.
Now, all of these point to possible etymology, where the common Germanic word, which is fuck, F-U-K, comes from the Indo-European root meaning to strike.
See,
so they all have that in common, I guess.
Yeah.
From the Indo-European root.
And that seems to be the truth, because you see that everywhere.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the two sources that there are. I'm just kidding.
But I didn't really find any information of how it made the jump from the Germanic languages into the English language. But a lot of English words come from Germanic, of course.
Yes.
And also notable is Norwegian, especially the Nordic occupations in England and Scotland through the early Middle Ages, because they owned quite a lot of territory throughout northern England and Scotland. And there was a lot of mixing and matching going on there.
From the Normans?
No, that was different. The Normans were from northern France.
Oh, yeah. I knew that.
So that is most likely where the word came from. And now we get into the spotty stuff of trying to figure out when the word came into common use in England, or in English, I should say. And that is tricky because there's a crossover period where at one point in time the word fuck meant to strike. And then at some point in time it came to mean to fuck.
Which also means to strike.
Which also means to strike in a different sort of matter.
Yeah.
And we should point out too that the word doesn't reach the modern usage at all during the Middle Ages. It always either means to strike or to have sex with, basically.
Yeah. So none of the you fucked me.
Yeah. Fuck off, you fucking fuck.
Yeah.
None of that stuff. But, another point to make too is that the only way we can find out about the use of this word is through writing. Because, of course, there is no voice recording or there's no other medium that we can look at to find, uses of the word fuck. And some of this stuff is like written in like court ledgers and like land grant papers and just really boring shit to read through.
Why were they writing fuck in land grant?
Oh, we'll get there. But so a lot of this there's a lot of that shit around, and it's really dry and boring to read. So there might be a lot more examples out there of the use of the word fuck that just haven't been found yet because people aren't sitting around reading through.
No one wants to read the
ledgers.
bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically just like lists of names and,
Oh, that's
just different records and stuff like that were kept. But the first example we have of the F word showing up was in 1278, and a guy named John LaFucker. And he was an Englishman whose name appears in an administrative record when he was in prison for a double murder.
no shit.
Walter de Leighton and William de Leighton. And it was a court record for somebody, or not a court record, but an administrative record for somebody seeking bail that had been arrested for these murders, and his name was John LaFucker. And it could be that is used as strike. John the Striker, which is kind of a bad
Okay,
name. Yeah,
so
because
his last name wasn't actually LaFucker. It was
see what at this time in English history,
it was
a lot of surnames were
whatever you did,
either occupation or descriptive. So you'd have like, Jacob the
Smith.
I don't know.
Jacob
The
Smith.
myth?
Smith.
Well, yeah. Well, that's Jaws, but you'd also have descriptive terms like
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ragnar the Boneless, which is, of course, Norwegian, but you get the idea.
Fucking boneless.
Yeah, you've never heard of the Boneless?
No. Why was he boneless?
Nobody knows.
Did he have literally no bones, or was he just impotent?
It could be. Well, he was a badass, from what I understand. I don't know much about Nordic history, but I think his name was Ragnar the Boneless. I could have the wrong first name, but there's a show called Vikings, and he's one of the characters in it.
Oh, on the history.
There's a
channel.
lot of there's a lot of interpretations of what his last name meant, but
because he leaves no bones,
maybe that's what it was.
or he only eats boneless chicken wings.
That I like that explanation, and that is the one I'm going to stick with. That's pretty. I like boneless chicken wings too.
I prefer traditional. I'm
Jason the
bone
Boneless. Yeah, I'm a really bad chicken eater though. Like I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I can't get all the meat. I'm really lazy when it comes to meat on the bone.
Oh, please.
And then
You
you get
just
some
stick
of
that
that,
thing in your mouth and you pull it out like a cartoon, you know?
and then you get the fat that's in there too, and all the gross
Well,
shit.
you can't eat the fat. What are
Ugh.
you? Oh, my God. You are
Anyway,
Jason the lady.
yeah, there we go. You're getting the hang of it now. Anyway, so yeah, John the Fucker. It could have been John the Striker. I'd like to think that it was John the Fucker because that's
Yeah.
more entertaining.
Yeah,
But,
well, if he was a rapist.
Well, I don't think he raped. It's double murder, not.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Rape and murder.
If he was the fucker as in the fucker, he would have raped him.
That's true. Now, a lot of people challenge this one too. They say it's possibly a misspelling or, whatever. Because it's, all this stuff was written by hand as well.
Right.
So.
And everyone
could
had
have been
really terrible. Actually, everyone had beautiful penmanship that was
true.
impossible to read.
That's very true. They like to misspell words a lot of different ways too. Like the same writer will misspell a word multiple different ways in the writing. But anyway, onward to 1286, where we have the last name Fuckabegger.
Did he fuck a beggar?
Fuckebegger. And this name appears as part of the surnames of one of Edward the First Pelfreymen. And a Pelfreyman, I had to look this up, but a Pelfreyman is somebody who takes care of the saddle horses.
Yes.
Maintenance and provisioning and stuff like that.
I knew that already.
Did you really? I
did.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I don't want to say. I was
No,
going to say,
who'd you
I asked
ask?
my wife, and that would mean that I'd bring up my wife like 3 times in this fucking podcast already. And I don't want to do that.
Have you heard about Jason's wife?
I'm cutting all this out. So whatever.
What was I going to say? Oh, I knew that because Philip K. Dick in his book Malice. Because he calls himself Horse Lover Fat, which is like a pseudonym. Is that the right word? It's like an alias for Philip Dick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, pseudonym.
Philip,
right. Yeah.
Horse Lover, and then Fat and Dick. Dick is German for fat or whatever.
Okay. Well, there you go. So you knew what Pilfreyman means.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a stretch, but the whole pal. Actually, there's no connection between what I just said and the fucking word Palfreyman. So that was total bullshit.
Well, I'm gonna keep that in there. Anyway, fuck a beggar could again be strike. He goes around kicking beggars or something. But you'd have to do that an awful lot for that to become your surname, I would think.
Yeah, right.
Like just every time he sees like a beggar on the street, he just boots him.
Oh,
But
see, I was pretending I was him. I was gonna say I fucking hate these beggars, but he wouldn't have said that.
No, he wouldn't have. He would say, "I'm going to strike these beggars.
I'm gonna fuck these beggars."
A couple years later, in around 1290, we have Simon Fuckaboter, which was one of my favorites because this one most likely means strike because the alternative is far too good to be true. But basically, the name means strike butter, and he'd be a butter churner or a butter maker, right?
Yeah.
So if it was fuck as we know it, then that would mean
fucker.
he had an interesting hobby.
Yeah. Oh,
But,
man, I hope that's the case.
I suppose it would work. I mean,
Make the butter a little extra salty.
that's right. Oh, God. Now, this one is another good one, too. Another name from 1310. And
yeah, good luck.
It's mentioned 7. Oh, no, I know this one.
Oh, really?
This one is one that popped up quite a bit as possibly the first use as a sexual term. But it's an Englishman who is mentioned 7 times in a plea roll of Chester County in the years 1310 and 1311. And I guess there was basically a warrant for his arrest, or an order of arrest, I guess you could say, for this time period. And they were never able to catch him, so he found himself as a wanted man, an outlaw, and his name was Roger Fuckebythenavele. And the predominant theory is this word is meant to mean, like it's meant to be a sexual context. And the two explanations are either the guy was so dumb that he tried to screw a woman's navel because he didn't know how it all worked, or that he was really into fraudage and liked rubbing his penis against a partner's navel.
What the fuck is fraudage?
That's when you rub your dick on something.
A partner's navel?
Well, not navel, any part that's not a sexual organ.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that term.
Fraudage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I bet you that's in the dictionary too.
Well, let's find out.
Are you going to look it up?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'll take your word for it.
All right.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to look it up.
Okay, yeah, look it up.
Yeah. Well, it says the practice of touching or rubbing against the clothed body of another person in a crowd as a means of obtaining sexual gratification.
Oh, well, that's not the
It's
meaning
like
I know.
Groping.
Look it up on Wikipedia. I bet you that has pictures and everything.
Oh, yeah, here it comes. It just says sexual rubbing, non-penetrative sex.
That's it. That's
dry humping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically. Anyway, so Roger the Dry Humper. And yeah, like I said, this is agreed to be widely agreed. I mean, there's always detractors, but it's widely agreed to be the first use of the word fuck used in a sexual context that we know of. And the next one is pretty certain to be in a sexual context. It's a place name in Bristol from 1373. And what happened in 1373 is Bristol was granted county status. So record of all the lands around Bristol had to be made. And one of the place names on that record was fucking Grove. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a grove where people probably went to fuck. Kind of like the Lover's Lane.
Yeah,
sort of
like
thing.
Makeout point.
Makeout point, Lover's Lane,
Yeah.
Or Love Grove, you see in more polite places.
Yeah, if you want to be...
I'm guessing this was like a local, name for the place. And
if you don't want the explicit warning...
Or maybe it's a place where people went to, the creepy guy in the bushes while other people are just going there to hook up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people never change.
That's right. That's right. We keep coming back to that, but that's very true.
Well, that's the common theme, right?
And fuck by the navel, Roger there. He'd be hiding in the bushes.
Yeah.
No, he'd be right out there, wouldn't he?
rubbing up against some fucking tree or something.
Anyway, the record gets kind of sparse after that as far as appearances of the word fuck. But we know by now that the word is around in a sexual context. And the next instance of it we see is almost 100 years later in 1475 in an anonymous, unnamed poem, which has been given the name Flen Flies, which is the first two words of the poem. And it was a satire against the Carmelite monks in Cambridgeshire. And the poem actually has, it was coded, that's the actual word we're talking about, where you take each letter was advanced one letter in the alphabet of the time.
Okay.
So you had to decode this word. And the actual word used is foucant, which is a combination of the English root word and the Latin what is it? Conjugation? Yes. I don't know. I failed English back in grade school. So.
Yeah. I deliberately failed
There you go.
because I hated it.
But the actual line, I'm not gonna. It was written in the whole poem was written in a combination of Latin and English, and I'm not gonna read the whole poem, but I did get the line that we're talking about here, and the uncoded secret word, and it reads, quote, "They," meaning the friars, "are not in heaven because they fuck the women at Ely," end quote. So, and I've heard this a lot actually about monks of the Middle Ages. They weren't exactly the saintly men that we think of when
Kinda
we think
like our
about monks.
Priests of today.
Exactly.
Nothing changes.
Oh boy, that's true. Anyway,
Greed is a very powerful thing.
yeah,
Greed and power.
yep. But apparently, these monks like to go into town and get the freak on.
who wouldn't?
That's true.
Well,
yeah,
let's be real here. These are monks. They spend all their day fucking praying.
that's true. But apparently, not enough because this poet thought that they were going to end up in another place because of all the fucking they did. But I wish we knew the circumstances around the writing of the poem. I mean, the fact that it's anonymous kind of gives you an idea of that what this person was saying wasn't exactly, you know,
it was his protest.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but the next example, again, we jump ahead to 1528, and this is probably one of the more famous ones, or recently famous, because this made its rounds on the internet not too long ago, over the last couple years. And it was widely claimed to be the first use of the word fuck in the English language, which we know now isn't the case.
Yeah.
But it's the fucking Abbott line. Have you heard about this one before? Or?
I don't think so.
Now, well, what it was a monk wrote in the margins of a copy of De Offici, which I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation because we've already talked about how we don't do Latin very well.
Ding.
Or anything, really. I forgot about the bell thing. Or really any other language other than English. I can do a little bit of French being Canadian. And I'm sure you got a little bit of Spanish that you can whip out.
It's not required.
Well, I'm going to look for something now.
Zero Spanish. I took...
Oh, you mean you didn't do anything? Oh, I see.
No, I took, I think, 5 years of German.
Oh, well, okay. So you can help with the
I did
German.
4 years in high school, and then I took a college course.
I'm
that doesn't
sure,
mean I can speak German.
And I'm sure it's really useful, too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Fucking German. Not in Minnesota.
Hey, Pennsylvania Dutch, dickhead.
I suppose.
But I got to speak to those really, really hardcore Amish people.
If they talk to you anyway.
Yeah.
Or they don't like to talk to dirty English people.
The English.
Englishers. Anyway, where were we? The monk.
Fucking Abbott.
Okay, yes. De Offici, which is a treatise by Marcus Tullius Cicero about good behavior and moral obligation and conduct. And what the theory is that this monk was being punished for something and being made to read this treatise on morality by the abbot. And he had a pen in hand, and in the margin of one of the pages wrote, O.D. fucking Abbott.
Do you know what OD meant?
The stuff I've read suggests that it means goddamn.
Oh.
And that, being a monk, those words you just couldn't say or write.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a code for that. O being the center O of the word God. Of course, damn being so goddamn fucking Abbott. And I'm wondering if maybe this is actually the first instance of the use of the word in something other than a sexual context.
Right.
I remember reading when this info first hit the internet that the abbot in question, and I can't remember his name. I couldn't find the information again. But the abbot in question was not the most moral of men himself, and had some
Naturally.
little side pieces off in town. So it could be that he was saying, the abbot's making me read this thing on moral conduct, and he's off screwing the barmaid, somewhere in town.
Like the fucking...
Or it could be, that he's just calling the abbot a fucking abbot. That's...
Yeah, like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
This is boring. I don't know Latin.
But, I'm guessing this is going to be the image on the website for this episode, because there's pictures of it, of course,
Nice.
written in the book, and it's beautiful penmanship once again.
Yeah.
But this guy wasn't too happy with the abbot, that's for sure. So by this time, the word fuck has been firmly entrenched in society, with its more vulgar meaning. The last couple of examples for sure didn't mean to strike, unless there was an epidemic of people going around beating women, which I guess isn't out of the...
definitely is a possibility.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But we see stuff through the 17th century, right through the 1600s. We see a lot of poems. I shouldn't say a lot. It was still a rare word to see in print, because it's always been a taboo word. But we see a lot of examples in poems and novels and plays of the word being used. There's a line in a play which is called The Humours of Dublin by Richard Head. And the line is great. I did creep in, and there I did see putting a great fuck upon my wife. I thought that I want to use a great fuck upon my wife at some point in time in a conversation. Or just the term the great fuck.
I just like the fact that guy's name's Dickhead.
You know what? I did not think of that when I was doing the research. Richard Head. Okay, yeah. That's Dickhead.
I used to have a neighbor named Dickhead, Richard Head, who's like its old guy.
I think if I had the last name Head and the first name Richard, I'd purposely go with the name Dick.
Dick. Yeah.
I'd make people call myself Dick.
Hey, Dickhead.
It'd be really awesome in the army too.
Oh my God.
Where
be
the
non-stop.
last name is used quite a bit. Yeah. There's another
that's the only name, the only full name you'd ever fucking hear.
A Dickhead, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. There's a book of poems written by John Wilmot, who was the second Earl of Rochester. And the book of poems was called, titled, I should say, Thus Was I Rooked of 12 Substantial Fucks. And I should have went looking. I found like some reprints of the book that were ridiculously expensive. And I'm guessing... I meant to look up what the word rooked meant in that context, and I want to say robbed.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So he was robbed of 12 great lays, basically. It's the name of this book. I don't know what the poems are like in this book, but I'm sure they're pretty good.
Yeah. This is cheating, defrauding, or overcharging someone.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. So we've got the sexual context of the word going on in the English language way back in the 1600s, which I think a lot of people would find surprising because, well, especially based on what I was fucking talking about earlier. Those stupid assholes. Oh, my grandfather never swore, and nobody swore back then. Everybody was... Basically what they're saying, I'm getting off on a rant again, because every time I think of it, it fucking burns my brain.
Well,
but
we've got an episode coming up to really put it all into perspective.
Which one's that?
The sailor songs.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I've got that coming at the end of the episode too.
Oh well, fuck! You got the end of this episode.
But no, It's basically what people are saying is that the word was used in a dirty manner up through to the late, or no, not even, the early 1800s, and then it disappeared from the English language, and then came back with all these fucking kids with their fuck this and fuck that. Is basically what people are saying.
I blame Vietnam.
Vietnam? Yeah, Vietnam created the word fuck. Or
What a
Vietnam movies.
Senseless war.
Anyway, so that brings us to the modern usage of the word. And what I mean by modern usage is it being used not just in a sexual context, but as an intensifier or a general expletive.
Yeah.
Which is our favorite way of using the word nowadays, and has been for a while, as you will find out. And the first instance, what's believed to be the first instance of this, discounting all the other possible instances of it throughout the Middle Ages and the Renaissance and such, is from around 1790, when a Virginia judge named George Tucker wrote a poem in which a father argues with his son, who is a scholar. And the words in the poem were actually censored, like, by the author himself. But the line in question reads, quote, G-D- your books, the testy father said. I'd not give a blank for all you've read. And the second blank is widely believed to be a fuck. So when you fill in all the guesses, God damn your books, the testy father said, I'd not give a fuck for all you've read. And that flows, too, as a poem. Yeah. It works. And there you go. I'm guessing it's not in a sexual context.
Yeah. And then now parents would kill to have their children read. And this guy's goddamning.
Yeah. Well, he's probably working in like a coal mine or something like that.
Oh, man.
There's a Monty Python.
That motherfucker was a farmer.
There was a Monty Python bit about that.
Oh, really?
What was it? Actually, no, it wasn't like that at all. The father was a scholar or something like that. Or no, he wasn't. He was just oh fuck, I can't remember now. I'm gonna have to cut that out. It was something like the father was. The son was like a coal miner, but it was like, that was like being a scholar. So the father was like, "Oh, fuck it.
God damn all your coal."
I'm gonna have to find. I'm gonna have to find it on YouTube or something afterwards because it's pretty funny. Fucking Monty Python, but all that's getting cut out because
because you're autistic.
Yeah.
I feel like half the shit I said should have been cut out.
Anyway, oh shit. So 1790, we've got not giving a fuck. And in 1836, Mary Hamilton was charged with using obscene language in the street. And I love this, as she followed a group of women around, calling them bloody whores, and told them to go fuck themselves. And this is from like a court record.
That's funny because that can mean the new way and still the old way, because she's talking to, she's calling them whores, so.
Yeah. So she wants them to go
literally fuck themselves.
Masturbate, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's
Keep
Mary
it to
Hamilton,
yourself.
I think, was off her meds. Wandering around in the streets.
No, she didn't have meds because they didn't exist.
1836? Yeah, I suppose. Maybe some like liver pills or something.
Yeah, they'd stick a fucking leech up your ass.
In 1857, now this one's kind of, this one kind of bummed me out when I was reading about it, but 1857 in the U.S. the abolitionist movement was well underway in the North and in the South.
Yeah.
And one abolitionist wrote about something he had witnessed, where a slaveholding doctor was whipping one of his slaves on a Sunday, and the woman writhed under each stroke. This is what the abolitionist wrote. Quote, writhed under each stroke and cried, "O Lord, O Lord." The doctor gazed on the woman with astonishment, said, "Hush, you fucking bitch. You will take the name of the Lord in vain on the Sabbath day." End quote. So there's the word as well, it's the modern modern usage.
Modern
Yeah.
usage.
And of course this was used, stuff like this was used to great effect by the abolitionist movement, because this, those words were extremely taboo.
Right.
I think more so maybe than taking the Lord's name in vain.
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, by 1857, most likely, yeah. I mean, you see a lot more instances of that sort of language in the writings of the day, meaning the taking the Lord's name in vain, than you do the F word.
That's true.
I think by this point, fuck had become a bigger taboo than taking the Lord's name in vain.
Or fuck was one of those words that the cool, like the hip young generation used.
Like slaveholding doctors? I suppose.
I take it back. That was a bad time to bring that up. Yeah, I mean, no, it was more of like only really fucking big jerks used.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people would like you to believe, but I'd like to think. I mean, the word is well established now. Mid 1800s, it's being used both as a sexual word and as a general bad word. And I like to think that it was probably commonly used. In fact, we're getting to something that suggests it was. But first, we've got another example of the word being used, this time in the context of screwing somebody. Well, that's because that can be taken sexual too, but cheating somebody, basically.
Yeah.
In 1866, a man swore in an affidavit that one Mr. Baker told him he, quote, would be fucked out of his money by Mr. Brown, end quote. And it's funny, too, because the notary actually recorded in the testimony, they editorialized saying, quote, before putting down the word as used by the witness, I requested him to reflect upon the language he attributed to Mr. Baker and not to impute to him an outrage upon all that was decent, end quote. So the person writing all this down actually requested him to use a different word, and obviously he declined.
Jeez, fuck no.
I hope that's what he said, because we have that as evidence now.
Yeah.
For the use of the word back in 1866, and this brings me to one of the many things that bothers me about people's opinions on certain time periods, and the American Civil War. I mean, this is just a year after the Civil War ended, and there's a popular conception that all soldiers did when they weren't marching and fighting was prayed, right? That kind of revivalist sort of atmosphere that existed in the U.S. at that point in time.
Or the Puritan.
Yeah, like, it's just nobody did anything morally wrong at the time, except for shoot each other in the fucking head.
Yeah, right.
On a battlefield.
And burn down fucking cities.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. Or keep slaves. Or
keep slaves.
But I'd like to think that army was not unlike, or those armies, both the Union and Confederate armies weren't any different from, any other time period through the modern era, and that they probably swore quite a bit. And I'm imagining that if the word is used in this sense, like that, what Mr. Baker had said, of somebody would be fucked out of their money, that soldiers were probably throwing that word around quite a bit too.
Yeah. You're being lined up against one another. and you're shooting at each other. You're taking turns and shooting at each other. You're going to be on edge.
Yeah, people are getting their arms, legs blown off, and you get brain matter flying everywhere. And...
I don't care how, because this what's the official name for this era?
What's the official name?
Yeah,
I guess the industrialized era, I guess you could say.
No, I'm trying to think something else. I guess we have to cut that out. But
I don't know exactly what you're going for there, but
just how it was all very prim and proper.
Oh, like the Victorian sort of mindset.
Yeah, Victorian.
Yeah, okay.
So in war had this, this prestige to it and all that bullshit. Yeah. But I mean, when it comes down to it, you're shooting a gun at another person.
Yeah, the only people that probably stuck to that whole prim and proper and moral decorum were British officers.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They're all fucked in the head anyway.
Yeah,
like they'd refuse to run and shit like that.
Yeah.
If they were being shot at, they could only walk or saunter is more like it.
Yeah.
But they were supposed to show like
daintily twirling their swords as they walk back,
or umbrellas, or swagger sticks. Yeah, no, that's that. I think that was like a common, like that was how an officer was supposed to act in the British military.
Yeah, like they don't give a shit, even though the guy's fucking. There's probably like 5 pounds of shit in his pants. But
as far as American soldiers during the American Civil War, I would think that those words were flying around quite a bit. And, of course, sometime after that, we have the Age of Deadwood. And anybody who out there has seen HBO's Deadwood, there was a lot of talk of, well, we just wanted to goose up the language a little bit, so it would be more shocking to modern audiences. But the truth of the matter is, people actually spoke like that back then. As we can see from written record.
If they gamble, if they engage in prostitution, they're not gonna have like some kind of moral superiority over saying the word fuck.
Yeah, no, and it just puzzles me that people think that way, that there was some sort of decorum, and it's those people that do things were better back in the olden days.
Yeah, right.
Not like they are now.
Shit about the old days.
No, it's
yeah.
As we covered in the last episode, you had to walk through shit.
Yeah.
On your way to the market.
Yeah.
Stepping in human filth.
You got fucking disease just stepping outside.
You probably let the F word go once in a while.
You got disease when you stepped outside. The fucking doctor gave you even more disease.
But and we have in 1893 Farmer and Henley's Slang and its Analogies, which is a book they wrote, or I guess it was a volume or several volumes that went over English slang and popular words used and stuff like that, but describe both the adjective and the adverb fucking as common. So there you go. By 1893, at least, it was considered a common word. So people were using it. And
every other word.
Every other word was... But, well, you got the dock workers language and shit that. But that brings us to the part that really kind of frustrated me in the research, and that's the early 20th century. According to most people's recollections or opinions or whatnot, nobody swore during the World War I or World War II. That's just something that never happened.
Well, they were the greatest generation.
Yeah,
Jason,
so you can't have them swear. And a lot of the people that are claiming this say, well, my father or my grandfather never swore, therefore nobody of that time period swore.
He was polite and wouldn't swear in front of the fucking children.
Exactly. I very rarely do I swear in front of my 4-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
But
that guy fucking... Again, you're firing in a line. Now you got fucking Germans on top of fucking hills with these huge ass guns just shooting down on motherfuckers. You're gonna be swearing. All you're gonna be doing is swearing.
Exactly. And this opinion that people didn't. There's a song actually, and the song I'm going to play at the end of the show. The that was written during World War One and became quite popular during World War Two, called "Fuck 'Em All," and it was a sailor song, and it was converted to "Bless 'Em All" and recorded with that title, and became quite popular in England during World War Two. But that's just, so there's a even at the time there's kind of a whitewashing. Obviously, the song was good enough that somebody wanted to make it a hit.
Yeah.
But of course, they couldn't use the word "fuck."
Fuck.
So they replaced it with "bless," and it became a hit song for Vera Lynn. I think actually sang that.
Underlying Puritan ethics of America that's still here.
Well, it's so. So where did the change happen? If say these people are true and people just didn't swear in the first half of the 20th century, was it the 60s that changed all that with the fucking baby boomers and their stupid attitudes, as they would say, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
The whole liberal boom of the mid to late 60s brought the word "fuck" around, and that's how
Maybe.
it came to be what it is today.
Maybe what's the LSD guy's name?
Timothy Leary.
Timothy Leary, yeah. Maybe Timothy Leary was high on LSD and some alien gave him all these extra curse words.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
These were in common use 50 years ago,
Yeah.
but
The man's just keeping you down, brother.
and then of course the baby boomers went on to tell us not to swear.
To go
and
fuck themselves.
We're lesser people if we swore. But here we fucking are.
Yep.
Swearing on a podcast.
Yeah. A podcast where we got to put NSFW in the title.
That's true. Censorship. Yeah, the word "fuck" in common use by the end of the 19th century, and still in use very much today.
Not at all offensive anymore, I think.
No, it's kind of gotten past that whole taboo. I mean, there's still people out there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to throw the word around at a family dinner or something like that.
Sure.
Although it occasionally slips out here and there.
Yeah, when I say fuck in front of my mom, I always stop myself.
But does she react?
No, I mean, I'm an adult.
Yeah, no, I think nobody really reacts to that anymore. That's why you got to use "cunt," because that gets people's attention.
Honestly, I think cunting's higher on the offendability
for sure.
scale.
And I'm sure we'll do an episode on that at some point in time.
Yeah.
That's a 4-letter word.
Yep.
But yeah. So where can people find us?
You can find us at our website, Not Safe for Work History Podcast.com.
NSFW.
Well, I know.
NSFW.
You ruined it.
Well, people are going to type
fucking
in
ruined
Not Safe
it.
for Work. They're going to stop the podcast.
I was
there.
gonna say.
They're going to stop the podcast and they're going to type in
right
Not
then.
Safe.
Oh,
They go, oh, it's not here. They're lying assholes.
You know what
I'm
we
never
need to
gonna
do
listen
then?
the
We
show
need to
again.
buy the domain, Not Safe for Work History Podcast.com, and then just reroute it to NSFWhistory.com.
That's not a bad idea. Okay, continue. I won't interrupt anymore. Go.
You can find us at Not Safe for Work History Podcast.com. That's NSFW History Podcast.
There you go.
You can find us on Facebook at NSF.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I always forget the Facebook. You can find us on Facebook at Not Safe for Work History. That's NSFW History. And Twitter at...
Fucking Twitter.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. We have, I follow us, and then someone else did. So we have 2 followers, really only 1. So be sure to follow us on Twitter at NSFW History.
That's right.
And then, yep.
iTunes.
Yeah, we
Subscribe.
have our... Shut up. Yeah, subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play. Give us the 5-star rating if you like us. I mean, if you don't like us, just don't give us a review. And that's it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Oh, boy. And like I said, here we've got Salty Dick with the World War II classic, Fuck 'em All. Enjoy.
Adios.
Oh, they sent for the Navy to come to Tulagi. The gallant Navy agreed. With 1,000 sections in different directions. My God, what a fucked up stampede. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em all. The long and the short and the tall. Fuck all the admirals who give us the flack. They don't give a shit if we ever come back. We're saying goodbye to them all. As back to our rust pots we crawl. There'll be no promotion this side of the ocean. So cheer up, my lads, fuck 'em all. They say there's a convoy that's leaving New York, bound for those blighty shores. Heavily laden with tanks and with planes, shit for old Adolf, of course. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em all, the long and the short and the tall. Fuck all the captains and all the mates too. Fuck the engineers and the whole goddamn crew. We're saying goodbye to them all. As back to our rust pots we crawl. We'll start a commotion that side of the ocean. So cheer up, my lads, fuck 'em all. They sent for the nurses to come overseas. The reason was perfectly clear. To make a good marriage and push a good carriage while fucking all hands, my dear. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em all. The long and the short and the tall. Fuck all the blonde cunts and all the brunettes. Don't be too choosy, just fuck all you get. We're saying goodbye to them all. As back to our rust pots we crawl. You'll get no erection at short arm inspection. So cheer up, my lads, fuck 'em all. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em all. The long and the short and the tall. Fuck all the blonde cunts and all the brunettes. Don't be too choosy, just fuck all you get. We're saying goodbye to them all. As back to our rust pots we crawl. You'll get no erection at short arm inspection. So cheer up, my lads, fuck 'em all.